Hey everybody, welcome back to the Barbershop Podcast. I'm Charles, your host for today. I'm here with Dr. Poulter, the author of The Shame Factor. Um,
Morning.
he's the author of The Shame Factor. He's also the
There,
author of Your X Factor. There's a lot of stuff that
we are like
he
a lot of
has got
factors.
going on. There are a lot of factors, some things to check out. You guys can take a look at those books on www.tbgmen.com/merchandise if you are interested in purchasing one of those books. Okay. Um, Happy New Year to you all. And
Yes.
one of the other things that I will say, and I just got this news a few minutes ago. Rest in peace, Sidney Poitier. Sidney Poitier
Oh
has
yeah.
died.
Oh
Today being what, January 7th. Sidney Poitier,
yeah.
iconic actor, first black actor to win an Oscar. If you all are not familiar with this man's life, his private life and his professional life, go to the library, use the internet, go get some film, check this guy out. Okay. So rest in peace, rest in heaven, rest in the academy of some of the best who've ever done it. Sidney Poitier. Our hearts go out to your
Yes.
family, your
Amen.
friends, and all of the people who knew you. Man, he had a long life. I believe he was 93 and 94. Despite having a long life, you never ever can prepare yourself for when it's time to say goodbye to someone. So, yeah, man, that's what's going on this morning. So, guys, today we're going to talk a little bit about men who have experienced mental health breakdowns in the public. Okay, and just throw some things out there for you all, man. I
Yeah.
mean, one of the most glaring examples of what could possibly be a mental health breakdown in the public recently, another football player by the name of Antonio Brown. All of you guys are familiar with Antonio
hmm
Brown. If you watch football, even if you don't watch football,
You
ESPN, you
know.
got social media, you
hmm
know who this guy is.
Yeah. He's on. He's everywhere.
He's everywhere. Yeah.
He's
And
every. Yeah.
Doc, we can't obviously
Mm-mm.
you can't diagnose this guy.
Uh-uh. And that's a
However,
good point, Charles.
yeah.
You can't just rubber stamp this one.
You can't yeah,
Uh-uh.
there's one
Mm-mm.
thing we want to be clear about is, licensed therapists and psychologists, guys, are not in the business of looking at a clip of something and saying, yeah, this person's got such and such. However, licensed therapists, clinicians, psychologists, as well as people who've been around in other mental health capacities, probably have looked at some of the behavior of Antonio Brown and have said, hey, you know what? What's going on here? Something's not
Something.
right.
Something's not right.
Okay.
Something's not right. We don't know what
Yeah.
it is.
Doc, so you saw the clip. When you were watching the clip, just what did you see? What was raw to you? What did you see?
I'm at lunch with my wife and my 90-year-old Korean father-in-law.
Yeah.
My first response was, oh, felt
Mhm.
bad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Right.
because I feel like we have to explain it's okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's really odd. But I'm like, oh man, I feel bad. I felt embarrassed
Mhm.
for him, for us.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, and people that struggle with emotional stuff, mental health stuff, we all took a deep breath.
Mhm.
That's honestly what I thought.
Mhm.
And I'm glad it didn't get more violent. I was afraid someone was going to try
Yeah.
to grab him.
Yeah. I thought it was going to get violent too.
Yeah, I was afraid. I was like
Mhm.
holding my breath. It was on Twitter like it was New Year's Eve.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
What
I knew it.
What did you think, Charles, when you saw it? What was your first go with it?
So what I thought when I saw it the first time,
Yeah.
was I was like, oh, look, here's AB being silly again,
Mm,
man. Here's AB being silly. But then I kind of stepped back and I'm like, wait a minute. He's
something's
still
not.
he's still one of the best wide receivers in today's game. Okay.
Mm-hmm,
He's playing with the best quarterback in today's game. And I'm
mm-hmm.
like, what person just tosses that away? You know, like what person just, either there's something physically really wrong or there's
Mm-hmm.
something mentally wrong. Okay. And I
Or both.
also, or
Or both.
both. And I
Yeah.
also thought when I saw it, like I said, when I
Mm.
saw the behavior, I said to myself, man, he reminds me of some of the kids at the group home, like just flipping the table and running off type of thing. Right. And I'm like, what? There's something behind all of this. What's going on? And I got in touch with a buddy of mine and I said, hey, dude, AB, what's up? And he was like, I can't wait to find out what the backstory to this is. Cause you know, there's got to be some backstory. And he said to me, that backstory doesn't mean that AB's not responsible. It doesn't mean that if he needs
Mm-hmm.
mental help that, you know, that goes away. But what triggered this? Because something was building up to this. Okay.
Charles,
Yeah,
spot on.
yeah.
They call it
Something.
pre-incident indicators.
Okay. That's what
They
they're
call them
called.
pre-incident. For
Mm-hmm.
like, there might be 10 of them. There's like a line, and all of a
I
sudden
see.
you hit it.
Yeah. Right.
I thought the same thing. I thought, did Brady get into it? Because Brady's not going to do that. He
Right.
lived in Brady's house.
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
That's you. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, wait a minute. And then I said, well, where's Tom Brady? Where's Tom Brady in this? Right. You know, what's going on? Obviously, Tom is playing the game. He doesn't
He's
know.
literally on the field.
He on the field. He don't know what's happening. Um, but it was just very concerning to me that this is happening. And then when I watch, because I've watched this clip about 15 or 16 times, probably more than I should, but hey, it's me. Um, and the other thing that started to disturb me, Doc, was the crowd, that the crowd was cheering about this. You know, and I get it. AB was, you know, egging them on and stuff, and you know, they're going into it. And I was just thinking to myself, I wonder if anybody in the stadium is going, hey, wait a minute, what's really going on here? Because this doesn't look right.
Look right, Charles.
Mhm.
I was when I saw him smiling,
Yeah,
I got more disturbed
I see. Okay.
because I'm thinking
Mhm.
he's in New York, 100,000 people. You're ripping your jersey off. That one player tried to console him,
Right. That's right. Hmm.
and he made no head. He tried, which I thought
Right.
was, but like an adult, okay, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
But when I saw him smiling, Charles went, "Oh no, I
Hmm.
hope he's not psychotic."
Okay.
And
Got
number
it.
two,
Mhm.
I'm not taking responsibility away, but how about all the concussions and the frontal lobe damage?
Yeah, so we
Swear
talk
to God.
about the CTE, right? We have seen some conversations in recent days about
Yep.
is this what CTE looks like potentially? You know, there's always that thing out
Mm-hmm.
there now. And I think it's unfortunate that a lot of people either they can have the CTE conversation or they can have the he's an idiot conversation or they can have the accountability conversation, but they can't have them all together, right?
It's the same, right,
And I
Charles?
believe
It's the
that
same pie chart,
yeah,
right?
it's all connected. It's all connected, you know. And so when I saw and heard how the people in the stadium were responding, I was like, oh, they're still just they're football fans right now. They don't know that something has changed.
It's not right.
You know, something's not right now. Um, they would be able to respond differently if, you know, say for instance, somebody on the field had a compound fracture and a bone is sticking out, and you know you see that for a second, and then obviously the camera's going to go away from that, doesn't want anybody to know what took place, but you can see it depending on where you're sitting. People would
Yeah.
respond to that with more compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm like, you know what, like, should we consider responding to this type of incident with compassion? I don't know. And who are we to say when it's not appropriate to offer compassion? Because it seems like, you know,
I'm with you. I thought the same. You know who I thought of was Will Smith in the
okay.
movie Concussion.
Yeah.
I'd
Hmm.
love to hear his opinion
Hmm.
because he
Yeah.
played that role in the true story.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought that on Sunday.
Yes.
Do you know another is as men,
Mm-hmm.
We laugh it off because I think it's everything you just said.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's mental. I think it's psychological,
Yeah.
concussions,
Right.
uh, wear and tear, all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff, Charles. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's the whole composite. And AB, he's not right. That something wasn't right. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
judging him. It
Yeah.
did. It didn't look right.
Right. Yeah. Then there's another story that comes out that I guess the night before he had invited some Instagram model or whatever to his hotel and things like that. And they tried to turn that into a thing. But here's the thing about that. And I'm not approving of that type of behavior, but we know that those NFL, NBA guys, all of those guys, that's something that they do. And the Instagram girls are there for it. You know what I'm saying? They
Charles,
don't
they're all participants.
they're a part of it. They know what's
Mm-hmm.
happening. You know, they don't play dumb. I'm sorry, they're not dumb. They may play dumb, but they know what this is about.
Yeah.
So that was like a non-story. He snuck somebody into the room. Not the first. He's not going to be the last. Okay. Um,
That's a
so
non-story.
yeah, it really is at this point. You know, because the other thing is, if it is indeed a mental health issue, right, then he's not probably going to make the best decisions anyway, especially as you said, you know, you
Right.
thought about somebody being psychotic. They're not going to make the best and most rational decisions. They can't, you see.
Charles, and that's where when people who commit suicide
Mm,
aren't thinking straight or
right,
they wouldn't do it.
right. Yeah.
AB that day, I don't know if he got hit in the head one play. I don't know about the electricity, but we know in head injuries, it can trigger a concussion.
Mm, yeah.
Prior concussion, it can trigger a psychotic event.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something. That's something. It really is something. So, you know, when I think about this all, I'm just, and the reason why we're doing today's episode, and I want to put this out there is this: I'm going to take
Yeah.
a stance, and it's some people know it, but I'm just going to reiterate it because I feel like it needs to be said a few more times, and then something needs to be truly done about it. And I believe it's going to be men that have to do this, and that is this: society as a whole, we're not ready to accept and deal with the mental health breakdowns of men publicly. Like when a man has a public mental health breakdown, unless you're a trained professional, society as a whole really
Mm-hmm.
isn't ready to consider that for men the way that they consider that for women. And I'm going to give you an example. Okay. Give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
Olympian Simone Biles. Okay. When
Yes.
she said that she could not compete, right? When she said that she couldn't compete and it was a mental health thing, right? There was a little bit of backlash from like a couple conservative media sites or whatever who were like, hey, you're an athlete. You're supposed to do what you're supposed to do there. But for the most part, and it continues to this day, for the most part, people
Mm-hmm.
were very consoling. They were very kind. They were very concerned.
Yes.
And again, like I said, they still are. I get guys, as you all know, I get hundreds of mental health articles every day. And Simone Biles is forever included. And we're talking about how it's a
Yeah.
watershed moment for Olympians in sport, athletes in sport. And I'm like, that was a moment, but it wasn't the watershed moment because I can go back to Royce White, who was an NBA basketball player who had his career
Mm-hmm.
cut short because he had some anxiety and some things around flying and some
Mm-hmm.
other issues. And the team, I believe it might have been Houston, I can't remember exactly, but the team was like, hey, you know what? Pull your shit together. Okay, pull it
Yeah.
together,
Yeah. Yeah.
bro. Like, we're
Right.
not doing this with you. We're not doing this with you. And then just a few years
Mm-hmm.
later, you got Kevin Love, and all of a sudden, Kevin
Yeah.
Love he's plastered all over every magazine for mental health. And I'm like, y'all forgot about Royce. So it's not a
Yeah.
watershed moment. That happened before. We just missed it as a society. We missed it. So when it comes to men and mental health, somebody's having a public breakdown
Mm-hmm.
we're really, really not ready to receive it as such.
Charles, because there are men watching that who are one step away from them. That's what I was thinking.
Man, good point. Huh. Right. Very
Seriously,
good point.
that's Charles.
Okay.
It's like when someone's going through a divorce and all the other married couples go away like, like Wolverines that saw the light.
Yeah. Right, right. Definitely.
That's why I think, man, I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't see that.
Right. No.
Charles, that's why I said,
mm-hmm.
That's why AB's moment isn't getting the airtime they thought it would. Because there's a lot of men, it's January, depression, finances, struggle.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, one more push, they're doing what he did.
Right.
Or they may be doing it at home.
They may be doing it at home. That's right.
Home.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just holding it on, not to do it at the workplace or in front of the family dinner.
Right.
That's why I think men we put our heads down. Like, that's in me too. I don't want to acknowledge it.